There we go. So let me move my camera a little bit so I'm centered.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome to our BB Dev Days presentation. Let's give everybody a couple minutes to join the room, or a couple seconds to join the room, and then we are going to kick off. If you were expecting AI acknowledgements as an outcome of Blackbaud's trustworthy AI principles, you are in the right place. If you are not expecting that, I still invite you to join, but may have clicked the wrong link. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ian Craddock. I'm a principal product manager here at Blackbaud, specifically over our AI ML platform. And then Amanda, if you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, my name is Amanda Elsner, and I'm a functional expert for Razor's Edge.
Thank you, Amanda. So what are we going to do today? I'm going to start off our session by giving an overview of artificial intelligence at Blackbaud. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to talk a bit about our strategy, where we've come from, where we're going, how we decide to prioritize certain use cases over others, and how, with all of our learnings and experience, we've developed a trustworthy AI principles guide that we use to not just decide what comes next, but how we're going to develop AI features. After that, Amanda is going to kick us off on a demonstration of Razor's Edge new feature, the AI acknowledgements. So how is this going to look? I'm not going to drain every word on every slide. These are going to more guide the conversation and the topics we're going to discuss today. So starting off with AI at Blackbaud, depending on how long you've been connected with Blackbaud or how well you know our products and features, some of this may be things that you know about, some of it's not, but even if it isn't, I'm going to give you kind of the background. For many, many years, Blackbaud has been a repository, that word is still relevant, of data. It's a combination of the data that belongs to you and your customers, your constituents, data that Blackbaud has collected and developed over time about what works, what doesn't in the terms of analytics, what works and what doesn't in giving, and to charitable space, as well as data that is given to us or purchased from brokers or from our other vendors, like some of the cloud service providers. And we combine all of that to deliver certain outcomes and certain expectations. So if you follow our path here, we take this data and we make inferences on it. We use different tools, and I'll go over some of what these are in a minute. Some you may be familiar with, some you may not. Some are happening whether you know it or not. But we use our great source of data to drive outcomes, something like prospect insights, model outcomes, where we predict for you who may be a good candidate for a certain type of giving. Other times we use this to benchmark your performance against industry standards and help guide you on ways that you can improve, or where you're actually exceeding, where you're already doing very well, and where you could maybe even market that as a differentiator for you. And we combine all of this with the expertise that we've built up over a number of years. It's not just data scientists, it's the product landscape that we have here that helps guide what is going to be the next best choice and how are we going to help our customers best. These are things that we discuss internally and daily. It's helped guide us into a number of shaping principles. So just a quick mention for to kind of drive back to what I was saying before. We've been doing this a long time, and that's how I can say that we have a track record, that we do have inbuilt expertise. And why the rest of this presentation, where I show you quite in depth what we're doing, I don't mind sharing that to you. There is a concern, I think, sometimes with software providers or software as a service providers of not showing you what's in the black box, not creating that transparency for you. So the overarching theme, I'm going to touch on a number of them, but I'm going to try to drive back home to you, especially as it relates to AI acknowledgements, is transparency. If I told you everything that goes into Prospect Insights and told you exactly how we do it, that's not a bad thing. That's not giving you a key that lets you unlock and go do that yourself. There's a certain expertise, talent, technology that is available at Blackbaud that we build off of that provides a lot of this for you, that is not replicatable outside of these walls. So hopefully now you're seeing a slide that says ethical guidelines. There is a lot here. I've included some links. If for whatever reason these slides aren't accessible to you, you can just use a keyword search for ethical guidelines AI. And a lot of these are going to be near the top on a Google or Bing search. biased towards Bing lately because of their Copilot integration. But when you look at things like accountability, human oversight, technical robustness, I can drain each one of these and tell you exactly how Blackbaud uses these to guide our AI development. Human oversights, our analysts, our data scientists, our product managers like me, we discuss what data goes in, what data goes into our models. We determine, regardless of regulations, whether or not we believe it's ethical to use that. Things like religion and gender. Where even before there were a lot of eyes on it from regulatory authorities, Blackbaud was taking a step back and saying, should we be making predictions using these as features in our models? And if not, how do we make sure that we've, one, wiped that out of predictions we've already made, wipe this out of our analytics tools, and two, make sure we don't use things like this going forward. And then go a step further. Even if a regulation says something like you cannot use religion to make a particular inference or prediction about a potential giving activity, we should look for features that are so roughly similar, like, say, propensity to purchase gospel music. And we should cut those out as well, because you might be following the letter of the law or the letter of an ethical guideline, but if you're closing your eyes to things that are effectively the same thing, you're not actually following these guidelines. You're not doing the right thing by our customers and our customers' constituents. So the circle on this chart, which I couldn't draw myself, I'll be honest, I'm going to focus on for the rest of this before I hand over to Amanda, is transparency. I'm going to show you in Prospect Insights how we drove transparency through our UX and the backend, and we created our models. And then we're going to look at AI acknowledgements. So if you're not familiar with Prospect Insights, this is one of the first screens you'll see when you first enter the modal or experience. Excuse me. Specifically, this is Prospect Insights Professional. Some of you may not have seen that even if you're a Prospect Insights customer. But here it just gives you a high-level overview of the different queues, where there is opportunities, and for you as a fundraiser, you may want to review candidates that are highly rated and yet have not been contacted or not been assigned to a fundraiser, or there's no campaign that's associated with them. And what that means to you, it means that there's a giving potential still on the table, and we've calculated that amount. When you drill in, and then this is a equivalent of a constituent record within Prospect Insights, we give you what drives that information. I can't show you all of the features that go into a particular model output because there's 1,300 plus fields. And the questions, I'll jump into the chat after I'm done presenting, but there are over 1,000 different pieces of data. Not all of them are weighted the same. But if I was to try to show you what this looks like, or what goes into the model on the screen, we would be here for the rest of the hour. But when you have this prediction, you see those little eyes on the screen. I hope you can see them. I'm not sure how I can increase the size of these. Maybe Steve, if you can help me with that. But while we're hopefully you can see it. There are little information. There are little information buttons here, and it'll tell you what the model output means. And see there's a range there. Why is that range calculated versus a solid whole number or a particular output? What does very good mean? And what went into those predictions? And you can hit the other tabs here. It'll also give you information about that person that's pulled from Razor's Edge NXT, such as the stuff that you've already filled into their constituent page. And this is to drive home transparency. We're not just giving you a number. Max Miller in this case is good for an ask of $1,000. Go do it. It's here's a range. Here's the likelihood they'll actually give to you now. Here's the likelihood that if they're not good for now, when in the future they may be a good candidate for you, and why we think so. And if we're wrong, which could possibly happen, you could mark this as someone who is not good, who's not a good candidate. And this will be taken back into the model. And this is where it is actually machine learning. And I think you'll see other, I don't want to call out specific competitors, but other market offerings are sometimes what I'll call ML washing. They make the prediction, but there's no feedback mechanism. There's no loop. If Max Miller does provide you a gift, if Max Miller's gift is within that range or above that range or below that range, all of the information is then taken and put back through the models. And later on, our next prediction is going to be sharper. It's going to happen again and again and again. And now that you're onboarding to a product that's been going for several years and is built off of data that's been collected over decades, you're getting predictions that are built with a lot of expertise behind them. So what does this mean for AI acknowledgements? This might be a little bit small, but you don't have to read every little bit of this, especially because I hope I'm not spoiling too much of what's going to go into Amanda's demo. You're going to see a lot more of this in a moment. If you haven't seen the AI acknowledgements tool yet, it is rolling out in the United States for our NXT customers, and later this year it'll be rolled out for RE customers globally. So when I said transparency, what do I mean here? A couple of things. When you are creating an AI acknowledgement, you choose exactly what the model gets to see. What part of your constituents data is used to formulate that thank you note, that letter. If you look at the bulk queue where letters are effectively made for you, when you go to review, you see exactly what data has already gone in there. And I can't see what data you use. I can see, certain metadata. I know that you are selecting boxes, but I don't know what's within that box. I can't go into a search tool and look up which letter you made. On the right here is a JSON object. And what that is an example of the template that we use to create a prompt. A prompt, if you're not familiar with large language models, is effectively how you tell a large language model, like in our case, OpenAI's GPT 3.5, what it is you want them to do. Now, this isn't the whole prompt. To give you a bit more of assurances, we have several other parts of the prompt that we build together for safety, security, preventing certain infiltration techniques like prompt injections, similar to SQL injection, if you're familiar with that. But for here, the most relevant bits for you are all laid out. And I don't mind showing this to you because I want you to know how our products are created. I want you to trust us. I want you to know that we're using Azure's OpenAI Studio and the OpenAI models through Microsoft Azure. And I can tell you that in the future, we may change that. The input to your feature might be a different model in the future. And we try to be as transparent as possible with that. Because even if I show you all of this, it's not a mystery. It's not a black box that I am concerned that you're going to know what's behind the what's behind the door or what's behind the magic curtain. I can't quite remember what happened in the Wizard of Oz, the phrase was, but I think you know what I'm getting at. We're here to provide you a useful and valuable tool that helps you connect with your constituents. We're not here to impress you with our magic AI ML capabilities. I want you to know that we are doing this with a good thought behind it of what is the value of the feature, what is the value that it provides to you, and how is it that we're going about doing this and making sure we're doing it in a transparent and ethical way. Now, this is going to wrap up my portion of the presentation. I'm going to hand it off to Amanda to kick off the demo. But afterwards, if you have any questions that you think of that you haven't already shared in chat, or please continue to share in chat, feel free to message myself or Amanda. I'm very available, happy to answer anything, and look forward to speaking to you all again soon. And maybe the last time I'm on screen, just say, please fill out the survey at the end that Steve's going to kick off. Thank you, folks.
Thanks, Ian. I pre-recorded the demo just because there were specific things I wanted to be able to show you. There's a place where it will sometimes give you stuff in brackets. It doesn't always happen. So I pre-recorded the demo, and I'll go ahead and play that now. And that'll free me up to answer any questions that you have in chat.
Thank you for joining us today to take a look at AI acknowledgements. We'll take a look at how to set up security for AI acknowledgements, how to configure acknowledgement templates, how to configure AI profiles, how to send acknowledgements, and how to manage the email delivery failures list. Let's take a look at those security settings first. In order for a user to have access to AI acknowledgements, they need access granted to them within 3 different roles. They need access to AI acknowledgements, which is a type of artificial intelligence role, email permissions, which is a type of communications role, and list access, which is a type of fundraising role. Let's take a look at those settings now, here under Control Panel, Security, Security Roles. Scroll down to find the artificial intelligence roles. If you don't have any artificial intelligence roles set up yet, click on New to create a new role. You can click on Show Permissions to show all of the available options as to whether you want someone to be able to view, add, edit, or send particular items, or if you want to give them access to everything, you can click the box at the top for generative AI acknowledgements. The next role that they will need is a communications role. If you don't have any roles set up here yet either, go ahead and click on New and set up that role. If you click on Show Permissions here, you'll see that you have a number of view and add edit options. Again, if you want to give them access to everything, simply click on the Manage Transactional Emails box. The final piece of access that they will need is to lists. This is a fundraising role. So they may already have a fundraising role set up and you would just want to edit the role. Lists tasks are here, and here we want to mark Access All Lists for them to have the access needed. And then, of course, we would have to manage the user in question and assign these roles to them if they're not already assigned. Now that we've seen how to give someone access to use AI acknowledgements, let's take a look at how to configure the acknowledgement templates, how to add, edit, and delete templates, how to adjust your default template to reflect your branding style. And we'll discuss that you should consider tailoring templates for specific funds, campaigns, or events to further engage your constituents. Navigate to Fundraising, Gift Acknowledgement, and click on Configurations under related links. Select the Acknowledgement Templates tab, and this is where you can click on the New button to add a new template, give it a name. The from name and email address are required, but reply to name and email are not required. They will default to the from name and email if you do not fill them out. And then you can click on Open Email Designer to set up your email. Under your logo, you can edit to include your logo or any image that you want to use. You can set the width or choose best fit. And you also have style options over here that allow you to be very specific about your colors so that you can brand this for your organization. To edit an existing template, simply select the ... and click on Edit. Now, this is the default, so you cannot delete the default, but any of the others that you add in, you'll see you have the option both to edit and delete those particular templates. Another thing that you will want to do is adjust that default template to reflect your branding style. So you'll definitely want to edit this and come in and add in any image or logo that you want to use here. Set it to have your branded colors and choose whichever font you would like to use. Now that we've looked at how to adjust your default template to reflect your branding style, let's discuss that you should consider tailoring some of your templates for specific funds, campaigns, or events. Let's go ahead and set up a new template for our annual gala. Click on New and fill out the template name, and from email. And then click on Open Email Designer. In here, we will include an image of people dancing, as dancing is one of the activities at our annual gala. You can add additional text that will be hard-coded into the email. In this case, we're going to enter in the tagline for the gala and put it at the end of the email body. This will not show in the preview of the acknowledgement, but will show up in the final email that the constituent receives. Now that we've set up our acknowledgement templates, let's take a look at how to configure AI profiles. We'll take a look at how to add, edit, and delete profiles, how to define the tone, such as formal, informal, and fun, and how to use segmentation to further customize your acknowledgements. Select the AI Profiles tab, and to add a new AI profile, you would click on the New button here. To edit and delete profiles, you would click on the ... to the left of the name of the profile to either edit or delete that particular profile. Let's add in a new AI profile for that annual gala template that we just set up. Go ahead and give your AI profile a name. And if you like, you can have AI generate the subject line Or if you would like the subject line to be the same for all emails sent to this profile, you can go ahead and unmark the box and type in your own subject line. And then we will select our annual gala template from the dropdown. If there's a particular acknowledgement letter that you would also like to select, you can do that here as well. This is the same as letter code in the database view. Over at the top right, you can set your tone to either fun, which is lighthearted, amusing, and witty, and uses wordplay and jokes. Informal, which is conversational in nature and may include slang, colloquialisms, and contractions, similar to how you would talk with a friend or close acquaintance. And formal, which typically uses no slang or colloquialisms or contractions and has precise, business-like language and structure. We're going to choose informal for this particular profile. You can choose what donation information to include by marking off the boxes that you want to include. And you can also include additional details, such as who you want the email to be signed by. Anything you want to have included, such as talk about how excited we are to have them register for the gala. And in this case, I'm also going to tell the system to replace the word gift with registration fee because these are registrations. You can also select segmentation criteria, a particular fundraiser if appropriate, if this particular acknowledgement profile will be for a particular fundraiser. You can also select specific gift types and subtypes. I'm going to select registration fee here because these are going to be registration fees, and I have that set up as a gift subtype, so I know that it will pull in the right gifts. You can also designate a specific fund. In this case, our gala does have its own fund, so we will select that here as well. You can also select gift amounts. If perhaps you're setting up a profile for major donors, you would put in the appropriate gift amounts here. And then save your profile, and now it is ready to be used. There are two different ways that you can send acknowledgements. You can send the AI acknowledgement from the individual gift record, or you can work with multiple gifts in the Acknowledgements to Review area under Fundraising Gift Acknowledgement. Here we are on a gift record for a registration fee for the gala. We can send the AI acknowledgement directly from the Acknowledgements and Receipts panel. It defaults to the appropriate profile because we segmented things properly, and it generates this message. We can make edits to this message before we send the email. And even though it does not show our tagline for the gala here after our signature, we know that it will show up on the final email that is sent. If you don't like the system's first attempt, perhaps you don't like the name formats that it selected, you can change that to any of the different salutations or addresses that are on the record, or you can use the display name. And then you can click on Generate New Message, and the system will try again. Sometimes the system will leave places in brackets where you can fill in specific information. So do look for that, such as here where it has left a place for us to put in our mission. If we had not told the system who to sign the email as, you would see your name and your title down here as well. Because we are using a profile that has these items already configured, we are not able to change the tone or add additional details here. However, if you are using a custom profile, which does not link back to any profile that you have set up, but allows you to do what you would like in the moment, then you can add additional details and change the tone there. But in general, if there is an AI profile set up for what you are attempting to do, that is what you will want to select. We also have the ability to send this acknowledgement from Fundraising Gift Acknowledgement. Here, if we click on the Acknowledgements to Review area, it will list all of the gifts that are waiting for acknowledgement. So the same gift, or in this case, registration fee from Taraji, is here at the top. You can see here that it has left a space for the event date that we can fill out in this particular instance. We are only serving appetizers at our gala, so just to be clear, I'm also going to change the word cuisine to appetizers. Everything else looks good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and send this message. Now the system will show that an acknowledgement email has already been sent for this item. And if I go to the constituents record, I will be able to see that acknowledgement on their actions panel. And if I click on the action, I can see the full text of the email. And here is the final email that shows up in the constituents inbox. And you can see that the tagline that we hard-coded into our acknowledgement template shows up here at the bottom. Next, let's take a look at how you can manage the email delivery failures list. You will want to update the acknowledgement status of the gift, and then you can also review the error message, mark it as reviewed, and if you want to attempt to resend the AI acknowledgement, you can do so from the gift record, as the failed acknowledgement will not be returned to the acknowledgements to review list in fundraising gift acknowledgement. Any emails that fail to go through will show up in the review email delivery failures list. In order to update the acknowledgement status to indicate that this gift has not in fact been acknowledged, we want to go directly to the gift record. Here you can edit the acknowledgement status to needs acknowledgement so that we can potentially send another AI acknowledgement if we wish to attempt it. But first, we should go back to fundraising, gift acknowledgement, and review the error message. In this particular case, that domain doesn't exist. That's because this is a test account and it's not a real email address. So retrying this wouldn't make any sense. But if we saw something here that indicated it was a temporary issue, or if we noticed maybe that the name was misspelled in the email and we just needed to fix it, we can do that and then try again. In here, once you've reviewed an item, you can mark it as reviewed, and then it will be removed from the list. If you do want to resend the AI acknowledgement, it does have to be done from the gift record here on the acknowledgements and receipts panel. The gift will not show back up in fundraising gift acknowledgement under the acknowledgements to review area once you have attempted to send an AI acknowledgement to it. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about AI acknowledgements. We can't wait to see how you will use this tool to further engage your donors and achieve your mission.
Awesome. Well, first, thank you, Amanda. That was an excellent demo. Round of applause. I know we're all virtual, but thank you so much. I have been part of that project for a very long time, and I learned things.
Amanda, I've got a few questions here that are in the chat and in the Q&A. So first question is, can you bulk send AI acknowledgements?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I hope that at some point that they'll add in that functionality, and I'm pushing for it.
Got it.
And I do want to mention that there's a little bit of that. It goes back to the story we were telling at the beginning. It's intentional. Right now, as you're getting used to AI acknowledgements, we want to build trust with you that when a acknowledgement is built on your behalf, that you recognize that it's speaking a language to your constituents that you understand and that you accept. If we bulk send them on your behalf without you reviewing them, I don't know that we had the opportunity to build that trust with you. So I agree with Amanda that that's going to come one day. It's probably going to come, and it'll be an excellent feature. But for now, I'd like to get your feedback. If it's not building gifts in the way that you expect, let us know, and we can work with you.
And the other question is interesting. As you updated the word cuisine to appetizers, the question is, does it learn what you expect and change it in the future?
I can take that one, Amanda. So if you save that as part of the profile, going forward, it'll be reusable. But these are point of use events. There's no model being trained on your data. And that's another point I want to drive home. If whatever you send to the model, it's not being, you don't have any risk of it being added to a training data set or anything else like that. It's not going to be saved except as a generated AI acknowledgement that you can discard, regenerate, or send. There's no Blackbaud database that'll save these, and the model itself won't intuitively know. Like perhaps if you're a ChatGPT user, you can add certain memory to your interactions. That you prefer the word appetizer over cuisine for certain scenarios. It has to be included as either part of the profile or within the descriptive free text box there.
That was where she set up a registration fee in place of gift, right?
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Does the gift get marked as acknowledged when the AI acknowledgement is sent, or does this need to be done manually?
Yes, it marks the gift as acknowledged when the AI acknowledgement is sent.
And do you have the ability to add an e-signature?
I don't know of a way to do that. You can tell it who to sign it from, but as in terms of like having like an image, you could pull that image into the to the template, but it either has to go at the beginning or the very end. So I guess if you ask the system to not put a signature on it and put it at the end, that might be feasible. It's something I'll have to test.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, was there additional?
No, let's keep going to the questions, I think.
And then they're saying they like the review process, but it'd be nice to be able to bulk send it after they've reviewed it rather than one by one.
Yeah, I think a workflow in which you could very quickly review and attest that you've liked and seen what's in each one that's been generated and then send them all at once is fairly reasonable. It's something we can definitely talk about.
And then will there be an option in the future to include a receipt with the AI acknowledgements?
Yeah, receipting was something that we're trying to figure out the best way to include as part of this, overall flow. But I don't want to say yes because I can't say the when. But yeah, it's definitely on the list.
And I believe we've seen this do emails. Is there a PDF of the letter, or is there ability to send an acknowledgement that's not an email? I believe it's what Candy's getting to.
Not at the moment. We're at the end of the flow, like a button that you could click to either save to your desktop or add a PDF to a notes section in RANXT. It's something that we're working on. Persistent data as an overarching question for a lot of generative AI use cases, and right now we swing a little bit back and forth about the data privacy portion of it. We don't want things to last longer than they're needed to as part of an experience. But at the same time, you probably do want to have a copy of this in some form or another. So it's definitely something I can take into consideration.
It does record the email to the record as an action, and you can see the full text of the email there, but it's not a PDF of what was, the actual email. I don't know that it includes images, but it does include all the text.
All right. And then Bill's asking, can it be removed from the acknowledgement function and be done as a separate area, I guess? I think that's what Bill's getting to. It looks like it's included as part of the acknowledgement area. And he's suggesting maybe it's an extra thank you, but not linked to the formal acknowledgement function within RENXT.
If I'm understanding your question, you don't have to use AI acknowledgements. You can still mark as acknowledged in the classical way where you've sent a letter yourself or you've used one of our other tools, if I'm kind of following you correctly. I think if you are looking for more of like a decoupling, I think we're still early in this workflow. We can talk about how that process looks or how this fits into the user experience of Razor's Edge NXT and perhaps other products later on. So maybe I can connect with you offline and we can talk about what your feedback is.
I think Catherine had a question. If you save the template, does it do that template verbatim? And so you need to change your templates regularly?
So if I'm following what you're asking there, and perhaps maybe in the review, go back and look at the demo from Amanda, your template will effectively have those things that Amanda showed you as saved. What goes into the letter, what part of a fund this is included. The letter themselves, the AI acknowledgement itself, you can regenerate right then, and the letter will be completely different. Well, not completely. It's still at the end of the day thanking someone for a gift they've given you. There's only so much variation in that, but it will refresh and regenerate. And so every single time that you have new gifts to acknowledge, or say, for example, two people live in the same household, they've both given you a gift and you want to thank both of them, they're not going to get the same acknowledgement, even if you use the same template on them. There's going to be variations in what gets included or what is part of that message. That's just natural that comes with generative AI.
Yeah, and that's the idea. People are sick of form letters, right? you get the same exact thank you every time you donate to somebody, and getting something that's a little bit different, it feels more personalized.
Interesting. Do they need an AI policy to use the AI acknowledging feature?
I don't think we have a formal AI policy that you need to sign for AI acknowledgements, RENext, or Prospect Insights, or any of our other AI use cases. There is an AI role that you can use to coordinate who has access to at least a specific feature at your organization or how they use it. That was part of Amanda's demo, but there's no, say when you become an RENXT customer, there's a number of documents you have to sign and things you have to adhere to. This doesn't create a new statement of work or anything else that you need to sign with Blackbaud. It should just be available in your Razor's Edge NXT. Does your org need a policy? I don't believe there's any additional policy that Blackbaud would want or need from your organization.
I think that's really an internal decision for your organization to make, whether or not you need a policy for how you're going to use any AI tools as they start to crop up. And that might apply to more situations than just Blackbaud as well, right? Because you might have other places where you might run into AI tools that may be helpful. So I think it's not a bad idea for every organization to consider adopting an AI policy, but we can't really advise on what your AI policy should be, because that's going to be individual to your org.
I can tell you from conversations with a number of customers about less about AI acknowledgements, but more about some of our other products, such as Impact Edge, which is a product that's coming out of the Your Cause organization that probably has several BB Dev Days presentations. So not a plug for them, but if you have time, another one to look into, where there are concerns about the use of data and about AI as part of the process. And those organizations, well, many of them are well-funded, or hospitals, groups, do have AI policies. They have had sort of a pushback or ask of, how do we have this certain level of transparency, and how do we make sure that what our organization values in terms of data privacy and AI matches exactly what's with Blackbaud. And I'm working on a number of customer facing and just shareable documents from Blackbaud's perspective about how we help your organizations guide your AI journey. So I think that might be something we can work with you on, or even if your org doesn't want to have a particular policy itself, but at least be, I think, more comfortable in allowing the use of AI.
Also, Amanda, may I comment that you have a wonderful name?
And then another question came in. The AI acknowledgements are not only available to online donations, correct? They can be used for offline.
Yes, they're available for any gift that's in the system that is marked as not acknowledged is going to get pulled in.
I'm going to stick around for at least a little while. If there's any more questions, if you think of some after this presentation, my email's on the screen, Amanda's email's on the screen. Unfortunately, with this background of the slide, it might be hard to read, but mine is ian.craddock@blackbaud.com. Amanda's is amanda.elsner@blackbaud.com. Feel free to ping us, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Anything you want, be happy to help you.
And Elsner is spelled similarly to Eisner, but with an L instead of the I. because nobody ever can spell it, but it's just Elsner.
Yes, you need to
I'm
ask
going to go
generative
ahead
AI.
I'm going to go ahead and launch the survey, and we'll stick around. And recordings of all the sessions are available within 24 hours of the session via the on-demand tab.
Awesome. Well, thank you, folks. Have a great
Thank
day.
you so much.